Hey there, Facebook and YouTube. Big Daddy Cool here, Shed 41. Coming to you from the big city of Lone Oak, Arkansas, along Interstate 40, about 20 miles east of Little Rock, Arkansas. So we're giving you a little update today, kind of check out the surroundings. Sorry, kind of see somebody dumped a Mayflower trailer here. I'm at a little Valero because if you truck this lane often, I'm over here next to a field. It's not a real nice place. There's a flatbed rolling through there, hauling a coil and a couple of coils, looks like. Anyway, if you're not familiar with I-40, this trucking lane between Little Rock and Memphis is very congested. A lot of truck traffic, and parking is at a premium at all the major truck stops along this route. I had about 30 minutes left on my log for today, and I could have got on to Little Rock, but everything Little Rock wise, there's some truck stops right before North Little Rock there, right off of I-40. There's a Petro, a Pilot, and there was a Love's, but they've torn it down and it's under reconstruction. So little tip, if you haven't been that way, those other two truck stops are going to be really crowded. So I knew by the time I got there, the chances of me finding any parking were going to be slim. So I went ahead and just shut down here, found this little hole in the wall, and it's starting to fill up. You can see there's another guy pulling in right now. There's probably, I don't know, over on that side, there's probably enough for 5 or 6 more trucks maybe. And I think there's 2 or 3 left in this row. But anyway, on our way to Austin, Texas, or Cedar Park, Texas, which is basically Austin. Load we picked up yesterday in LaPorte, Indiana. It's an interesting load. We've got I've got 20 pallets with super sacks on them, and these super sacks have some type of bulk powdered soap, and I'm taking it to some facility down there in Cedar Park. A lot of weight to it. Each sack's about 2,000 pounds, so I'm pretty heavy. I think truck, trailer, and everything, we're about 78,000. So I can definitely tell I had a load coming back, and my fuel mileage definitely shows it as well. I want to give a quick tip of my hat, if I had one on, to a couple of YouTubers that I've really enjoyed watching, and I'll try to, if I can figure it out, I'll try to put a link down below to both of their channels. But both good southern boys doing trucking right. They both have their own authority like me, and anyway, Sammy over at Make Sense, I think the name of his channel is Make Sense, or Makes Sense with a C, C-E-N-T-S. And then Tim, I think's his name, over at Life is Good. Both good guys, a couple of southern boys doing the owner-operator thing, and seem to be doing it right. I've really learned a lot watching both of their channels. So if you're a company driver or an owner-operator, lease-to-own, or thinking about getting your own authority, there's a lot of good information but both of those guys have on their channels that can really help you through the process and give you some good tips, and they're entertaining to watch. They show some cool footage of some of the places that they go across the country. So again, check their channel out. I attribute a lot of what I'm learning out here on the road to them. Now I've been driving for quite a few years, but I have my own authority. I actually have dual authority. I have household goods authority and property, so I can do household goods and regular freight. But the focus of my company for the last 21 years has mainly been household goods. We've always hauled a little bit of freight here and there to fill in the gaps and supplement during the slower times of the year for the moving business. But as freight rates have gotten better, particularly here in the last 6 months or so, we've found that it's not a bad thing to start doing and increasing our activity on the freight lanes out there. We're still in the moving business, and of course we're getting into our busy season as we approach Memorial Day and heading into the summer. But it is allowing us to be a little more picky about the types of moves that we do, because we were able to go out and grab freight. So Downside is you got to be gone a little longer period of time than you do if you're in a moving business. But the upside is you're not on the truck stacking and loading that truck and dealing with that liability. So anyway, picked up a load, like I said, in LaPorte, Indiana yesterday, going to Austin, Texas, or Cedar Park, Texas with it. Should make it there mid-afternoon tomorrow. I've got about 500 miles still left to go. And I had planned on picking up, I'd already actually accepted a rate confirmation from my broker. We planned on shooting on down Saturday to San Antonio, which is about another 100 miles south of Austin, and was going to pick up a load to come to Dallas, which would get me close to home, where I'd just deadhead home and take a day or two off. But after it shut down this evening, I looked at the rate confirmation a little closer and didn't realize when I accepted it, but it's a food grade trailer only, and this trailer, this 53-foot dry van that I'm pulling, is not a food grade trailer. It's got wood walls instead of the plates, so that's a disqualifier. So anyway, I just sent him a message and told him that he was going to need to take me off of that load, and that I would look at his board tonight and see if I could find something else in the area that made sense. Otherwise, I'm just going to try to see what else I can find. My dilemma is that come Monday afternoon, I will be at my reset time, where I'll have to take a day and a half off and get a 34-hour reset. So, and I want to get home and see the kids. So, I'm trying to get a load that'll get me just close to home, maybe pay for the fuel back, take a day down, and then go out and run another week, maybe. So, what else did I do this week? The load I picked up in LaPorte, Indiana, was after I'd just done a drop-off in Chicago. And I'm going to tell you, I prefer the Southeast and the Midwest and the Southwest, with the exception of Chicago. I do not like going to Chicago. Chicago is a pain in the butt if you're in a truck. You got to take, the loops around, and almost every one of them, in fact, all of them, are tollways. And I know you guys that are trucking up in the Northeast, that's pretty much a normal everyday part of life for you guys. But for a southern redneck like me, that's used to being down here in the South, we don't deal with that a whole lot. So unless you're, one of the turnpikes in Dallas or Houston. But anyway, it's expensive. And I kind of failed to factor that in when I accepted my load going into Chicago. I tallied it up. And yesterday, getting in and out of there, and getting out of there this morning when I come back through, $92 in tolls. And compared to like New York City area up in the Northeast, that's cheap. But when you're already negotiating the rate, and you had to make a compromise and take a little bit less than what you originally wanted, and you didn't factor in that $90-something worth of tolls, well, that just comes right off your bottom line, doesn't it? So anyway, just ramblings here about not much of anything, probably nothing much that you can use. I will say this, you guys that are considering getting your own authority, I again encourage you to go watch the Life is Good channel, and then also Make Sense. There's a lot of good tips and information there. But guys, I'm going to tell you, you need to be really committed if you're going to go out on your own and have your own authority, because it is a big responsibility, reporting wise, legal wise, the responsibilities that lay on your shoulders are tremendous. Now, the upside is that you're your own boss. You don't have to do forced dispatch. The only people you answer to are yourself and your customers. So there's a lot of freedom that comes along with it, but at the same time, there's a lot of expense. And as a new trucking company or somebody with a new authority, I can go ahead and tell you that you are going to pay a lot for your insurance, both your cargo insurance, your scheduled auto and commercial liability, and your general liability. All of those things are going to be expensive for a few years until you have some history. In fact, there's only going to be a handful of companies that may write coverage for you, so it'll be a limited market. So just be ready for that. Expect that, and just understand that that's going to be a cost of doing business. We've been through that, and our insurance is still expensive because we are household goods and freight. And for those of you that don't know, there's not a lot of commercial insurance carriers out there that will write coverage for household goods movers anymore. It's a very limited market. So because of that, The companies that do write the coverage, they charge a premium on that coverage, a real high premium. So anyway, food for thought. Shed 41, also known as Big Daddy Cool, signing out here from Lone Oak, Arkansas. We'll check in with you tomorrow after we get unloaded and let you know how that goes, and look for more stories from the highway out here. All right, guys, y'all keep them between the ditches, and we'll see you on the back haul.